Welcome back to Bro Lawrence channel. I hope you are doing well by the grace of God. This week we have been talking about the 6,000 year theology, and we saw the position of Pastor Andrew Henriquez. He actually calculated and came to the conclusion that we should expect the return of Jesus, the second coming of Jesus, somewhere between 2027 and 2031. 2027 and 2031. And on the other hand, we saw Pastor Dr. Isaac Olatunji, who did not agree with the time frame given by Pastor Henriquez, stating that what Pastor Henriquez did was time certain. Now, this is what I did. After listening to both of them, I decided to do a research and find other SDA pastors that have spoken on the same subject. And by God's grace, friends, by God's grace, I found Pastor Professor Walter Veith. Yes, Pastor Professor Walter Veith. And so I'm going to share this particular video of Pastor Walter Veith with you. And the video talks about the same subject, going to see the position of Professor Walter Veith. So we're going to play the video right now after I come back from the break. So stay right here. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, ladies. Imagine your own ministry supporting pregnant mothers and get paid through insurance. Become a community perinatal doula. www.perinatal.academy.
All right, so welcome back from the break. Are you ready for the video? Are you ready for the video of Pastor Walter Veith concerning the 6,000 year theology, or when probation will be closing? All right, let's get into it. If you are ready, let's get into it right now. Let's see.
So my question is this. If Christ came at exactly 4,000 years after Adam sinned, and if we add 2,000 years, could the world end in 2027 according to this calculation? Because remember, Christ came 27 AD when 4,000 years since the fall of Adam had expired. And add to that the 2,000 years to make the 6,000 would bring us to the year 2027. But before I go there, and remember, I am not time setting, I'm merely quoting the spirit of prophecy. I want to look at that statement that I referred to earlier. And I said we would come back to it. Let's look at it carefully. It's the statement about after 6,000 years of sin, the earth was renewed. The great plan of redemption results in fully bringing back the world into God's favor. All that was lost by sin is restored. Not only man, but the earth is redeemed to be the eternal abode of the obedient. For 6,000 years, Satan had struggled to maintain possession of the earth. Now, God's original purpose in its creation is accomplished. The saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever, even forever and ever. What is the context of this statement? Well, it is in the context of the final restoration, when the saints will possess this kingdom and the earth forever and ever. So it is after the millennium, when the earth will be restored to its original. But even after the millennium, the time period that Satan had been warring against this government was 6,000 years. For 6,000 years, Satan had struggled to maintain possession of the earth. So it's the time frame of his total struggle. Now remember, during the millennium, he cannot struggle. He's bound for 1,000 years. He is inactivated. He has no power to do anything. So how do we understand this? Let us look at Satan preparing for the final battle. This is me writing. So when the wicked are raised, Satan must have some time to prepare them for battle. If 2027 is the end of the 6,000-year period of warring against God, then this would exclude the time of preparation required after the wicked are raised. Is it possible, I'm just asking the question, that a time could be cut off from the 6,000 years before 2027? If so, then Christ must come sometime before 2027 to allow this, if we take the prophecies in the spirit of prophecy as definitive in terms of time. Now Romans 9 verse 28 says, "For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord make upon the earth." So there will be a time when he will cut it short. Here's another statement in the spirit of prophecy. Those who are not interested in the cause of God on earth can never sing the song of redeeming love above. I saw that the quick work that God was doing on the earth would soon be cut short in righteousness, and that the messengers must speed swiftly on their way to search out the scattered flock. We have a work to do. I want to remind you again, this is not time setting, but let the Bible and the spirit of prophecy speak for themselves. Revelation 20 verse 3 says about the devil, "And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled." So here is 1,000 years of rest, complete. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. So after the 1,000 years, there is a little season when he will be active again. But by the time you get to the restoration of the earth, Satan will have been active for exactly 6,000 years, according to that previous statement. So now what about this little season? "And when the 1,000 years are expired," 20 verse 7, "Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and he can again commence to deceive the nations." That's the biblical version. Now let's go to the spirit of prophecy. This is now after the 1,000 years. The city of God has come down onto this earth. A plain has been created where Jesus' feet land on the Mount of Olives, and the city comes down on this purified area. What happens then? Then Jesus and all the retinue of holy angels and all the redeemed saints left the city. The angels surrounded their commander and escorted him on his way, and the train of redeemed saints followed. Then in terrible, fearful majesty, Jesus called forth the wicked dead. And they came up with the same feeble, sickly bodies that went into the grave. What a spectacle, what a scene! At the first resurrection, all came forth in immortal bloom, but at the second, the marks of the cursed are visible on all. This is exactly in accordance with the Bible description of the second resurrection. The kings and noblemen of the earth, the mean and the low, the learned and the unlearned came forth together. All behold the Son of Man, and those very men who despised and mocked him, who put the crown of thorns upon his sacred brow, and smote him with a reed, behold him in all his kingly majesty. Those who spit upon him in the hour of his trial now turn from his piercing gaze and from the glory of his countenance. Those who drove the nails through his hands and feet now look upon the marks of his crucifixion. Those who thrust the spear into his side behold the marks of their cruelty on his body, and they know that he is the very one whom they crucified and derided in his expiring agony. And then there arises one long protracted wail of agony, and they flee to hide from the presence of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. All are seeking to hide in the rocks to shield themselves from the terrible glory of him whom they once despised. And overwhelmed and pained with his majesty and exceeding glory, they with one accord raise their voices with terrible distinctness exclaim, Blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord. Now what happens next? Then Jesus and the holy angels, accompanied by all the saints, went again to the city. And the bitter lamentations and wailings of the doomed wicked filled the air. Then I saw that Satan again commenced his work. So here is a time again where he's going to try and wrest the government of God from him. And that period that he was warring against God is exactly 6,000 years, according to that previous statement. He passed around amongst his subjects and made the weak and feeble strong, and told them that he and his angels were powerful. He pointed to the countless millions who had been raised. There were mighty warriors and kings who were well skilled in battle, who had conquered kingdoms. And there were mighty giants and valiant men who had never lost a battle. There was the proud, ambitious Napoleon, whose approach had caused the kingdoms to tremble. There stood men of lofty stature and dignified bearing, who had fallen in battle while thirsting to conquer. As they came forth from their graves, they resumed the current of their thoughts where it ceased in death. They possessed the same desire to conquer which ruled when they fell. Satan consults with his angels, and then with those kings and conquerors and mighty men. Then he looks over the vast army and tells them that the company in the city is small and feeble, and that they can go up and take it and cast out its inhabitants and possess his riches and glory themselves. Satan succeeds in deceiving them, and all immediately begin to prepare themselves for battle. There are many skillful men in that vast army, and they construct all kinds of implements of war. That takes time. What kind of weapons will they construct? Will they construct swords? Or are there men of genius who might construct even nuclear weapons to try and take on this enemy? Then with Satan at the head, the multitude move on. Kings and warriors follow close after Satan, and the multitude follow after in companies. Each company has its leader, and order is observed as they march over the broken surface of the earth to the holy city. My question is, how long does it take him to organize this vast army, to put it into companies, to appoint the leaders, to construct the weapons of war that will be necessary for such a cosmic battle? Jesus closes the gates of the city, and this vast army surround it and place themselves in battle array, expecting a fierce conflict. You know, if we go to Jesuit theater, which is Hollywood, then we'll see that there have been many, many movies about an earth totally destroyed, and how they then create all the weapons and manufacture all the things necessary for this great final battle, where in the movies they always succeed. But in this biblical story, the tables are turned. Jesus and all his angelic host and all the saints with the glittering crowns upon their heads ascend to the top of the wall of the city. And Jesus speaks with majesty, saying, "Behold, ye sinners, and reward of the just, and behold my redeemed, the reward of the wicked." The vast multitude behold the glorious company on the walls of the city, and as they witness the splendor of their glittering crowns and see their faces radiant with glory, reflecting the image of Jesus, and then behold the unsurpassed glory and majesty of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, their courage fails. A sense of the treasure and glory which they have lost rushes upon them, and they realize that the wages of sin is death. They see the holy, happy company whom they have despised, clothed with glory, honor, immortality, and eternal life, while they are outside of the city with every mean and abominable thing. And then the Bible says, and fire came down from heaven and consumed them. 6,000 years. If it takes time to prepare this army, how long does it take? I don't know. I'm not going to make a time. So if we are now in 2020, And the 6,000 years would end in 2027, if we take them as a continuous period. And according to the spirit of prophecy, the 6,000-year period would come to an end in 2027. But a time period is cut off and added on to this portion of time when he prepares his army. Then how much time will be cut off? I don't know. Would 1 year be enough to organize such a vast army, to build weapons of war, to keep people alive and all the things that are necessary? Surely this takes time of preparation as they watch the city and prepare. Is it 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? I don't know. But whatever it is, it means we are, according to the spirit of prophecy, in that final week. And if that time is cut off, then Jesus must come in the next few years. And therefore the time is short. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying when he's coming. I'm saying its time is short. Matthew 24 verse 48 says, "But, and if that evil servant," and this servant is someone that serves in God's church, "shall say in his heart, my Lord delays his coming." In other words, when they will say, "This is not it. This is not the beginning of sorrows. No, we still have time. Jesus won't come for another 100 years, 200 years. I've heard it from so many people." "And shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunken." In other words, if they start attacking those people who say that the time is short, while they are eating and drinking with those who are drunk from the wine of Babylon, perhaps they're sitting in ecumenical councils discussing these issues and talking about the fanatics out there who are saying that the time is short and who are watching the signs of the times. "The Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour that he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites, and there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth." I've not made a time, brothers and sisters. I've just looked at what the spirit of prophecy says. And if those statements are inspired and not just influences from whatever source out there, then we have very little time left. Now, the Lord can add to that time. The Lord delays his coming. The Lord can take away from that time. I don't know. I'm not making a time. I'm saying that the time is short. And if a portion of time is cut off for preparation there at the end after the millennium, then the time is even shorter. I believe we are in the closing hours of this earth's history. And we will see a new world emerge out of this coronavirus. Maybe there will be that time of peace. And then again, that repetition of turmoil that we read about. Maybe that will take place. I don't know. Matthew 24 verse 3. "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said to them, Take heed that no man deceive you. Let no man deceive you by telling you that the coming of the Lord is not for many years to come. It's not in accordance with the signs of the times in which we are living. I can see the forces of Rome mustering their powers in the echelons of power out there in governments, and I can see the implementation of the directives of the man of sin. He's calling for all to come and be educated on the subject, and I believe we are very close to the end. If I am proven wrong, then I will be happy, because then we'll have more time to preach the gospel. But if these things are so, and if the prophet can be taken at her word, then our time is very limited. Let us preach the three angels' messages. Let us make use of every capacity and ability that God has given us. And maybe He'll give us a window of opportunity, and maybe not. I don't know, but the time is short. Let's get ready for the coming of the Lord. Let's pray.
So that was the position of Professor Walter Veith, or the teaching of Professor Walter Veith concerning the 6,000-year theology, or the close of probation. So this is getting interesting. Yes, this is getting interesting, and I can see that Professor Walter Veith was using quotes from Ellen White, just as Pastor Henriquez used in his previous video. So it is getting interesting. You know, I said in my previous video that I would like to learn more about this 6,000-year theology and the close of probation. I would like to learn more. So I was hoping that Dr. O and Pastor Henriquez come together to discuss this so that people can learn more. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm not going to comment on this particular video yet. I'm not going to comment because I'm still learning. I'm still studying things. I'm still studying, so I'm not going to comment. But what I believe is that Jesus is coming soon. Yes, Jesus is coming. That is a fact. Jesus is coming soon. That is also a fact approved by the Bible. But I want to stay away from calculations. Personally, I want to stay away from calculations and focus on the words like soon, quickly. Yeah, because some of these things can be tricky, you know. So I'm going to do more research and see what other SDA pastors have said on the subject. I'm going to search if Pastor Doc Batchelor has made a video on that subject. I'm going to see if maybe Pastor, who else? Maybe Pastor Lomakang or any other top SDA pastor. Let's say Pastor McFinley too. I'm going to do research and see if they have also spoken on the subject so that I can put everything together and make a decision for myself. Yes, for myself. So you can also do your research. You can also search from various sources and put them together and make your own decision. Make your own decision. So in a nutshell, it looks like some SDAs believe that Christ will be coming somewhere between 2027 and 2031. Some believe the 6,000 years would end in 2027. So we should expect Christ to be coming from now to 2027. Some also believe that, you know, and there are some Adventists that believe that the second coming of Christ will go beyond 2031 or 2032 or 2040. Some believe that we will not even pass 2027. So there are many beliefs out there about the second coming of Christ. But my belief is that Christ is coming soon. I'm not going to put any dates. I'm not going to calculate anything. But I'm saying that Christ is coming soon. Maybe tonight Christ will come. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But it is for you to prepare yourself spiritually for the second coming of Christ. So friends, I want to pause here. If you have any comment, you can put it down in the comment section. There are some individuals, Adventists, that have studied more on the subject. So please, I need more understanding. You know, I don't want to be like the YouTuber that stands on one side or that stands on the other side. I just want to learn more. You know. So it could be that Pastor Henriquez is right. It could be that the other party or the others are right. I don't know for now, but let us wait and see. Time will tell. Thanks for watching. See you again, and may God bless you.